You are lying in bed, exhausted, but your mind refuses to be quiet. The room is dark. The phone is beside you. You tell yourself you will not check again. Not tonight. Not this time. But then one thought appears. Maybe they posted something. Maybe they changed. Maybe there is a sign that you still matter. So you look. One profile. One old message. One photo. One memory. And after a few minutes, nothing is solved. You do not feel closer to them. You do not feel stronger. You feel empty, restless, and a little ashamed of how easily your peace was taken again. This is the hidden pain of not being able to let go. The person may no longer be in your life, but they still live inside your attention. They follow you into work, into silence, into music, into sleep. You are not speaking to them, yet you are still answering them in your mind. You are not with them, yet part of your day is still built around their absence. And here is the uncomfortable truth. Sometimes what you call love is actually attachment, habit, unfinished hope, and the fear of becoming someone new without them. Stoicism does not tell you to become cold. It does not ask you to pretend you never cared. It teaches something harder, to feel the pain without letting the pain command you, because letting go does not begin when you forget someone. Letting go begins when you stop obeying every thought that brings them back. In this video, you will learn 10 Stoic rules to let go of someone you cannot stop thinking about. Not by hating them, not by begging for closure, not by trying to erase the past, but by reclaiming your attention, your discipline, your dignity, and your life. If this pattern feels familiar, leave a like as a quiet mark that you are ready to face it clearly, because tonight we are not going to chase a memory. We are going to take back the room inside your mind. Rule 1. Stop confusing attachment with love. This is where most people lose themselves, because attachment can imitate love very convincingly. It can wear the same face. It can use the same memories. It can make you say, "I just miss them." When the truth is more complicated, maybe you do miss them. But maybe you also miss how they made you feel when they chose you. Maybe you miss the version of yourself who felt wanted, noticed, important, alive. Maybe you are not only grieving a person. Maybe you are grieving an identity. That is why the mind keeps returning. It is not always searching for the person. Sometimes it is searching for the feeling you had when life seemed clearer beside them. A man checks her profile every night and tells himself it is because he still loves her. But if he is honest, he is not looking for love. He is looking for relief. One sign, one clue, one small proof that he was not forgotten. The checking does not heal him. It feeds the hunger for another hour. Stoicism begins with clear seeing, not dramatic denial, not pretending you are above emotion. Clear seeing, ask yourself, what exactly am I missing? Am I missing the real person with all their limits and choices? Am I missing the attention they gave me? Am I missing the future I imagined? Am I missing the version of myself who felt stronger when they wanted me? This question is not meant to shame you. It is meant to free you, because you cannot release what you refuse to name. Today, write one honest sentence. What I am attached to is, then finish it without trying to look noble. Maybe it is comfort. Maybe it is validation. Maybe it is the fantasy. Maybe it is unfinished hope. Once you name the chain, it becomes less invisible. And what is no longer invisible can finally be governed. Rule 2. Accept what is, not what you keep rewriting. The mind suffers twice when it refuses reality. First, it suffers from what happened. Then, it suffers from all the versions it invents afterward. Maybe they left. Maybe they changed. Maybe they stopped choosing you. That is painful enough. But then the mind begins its secret work. What if I had said something different? What if they still care but are hiding it? What if this is not really over? What if I just wait a little longer? This is how pain becomes a maze. Stoicism teaches you to separate reality from interpretation. Reality is simple, even when it hurts. Interpretation is where the mind keeps negotiating. Reality says, they did not call. Interpretation says, maybe they are testing me. Maybe they miss me. Maybe I should send one more message. Reality says, the relationship changed. Interpretation says, maybe I can recover the exact person they were before. But you cannot heal while arguing with what is already in front of you. So today, take a page and divide it into 2 columns. On the left, write, what actually happened? On the right, write, what my mind keeps adding. Be brutally honest, but not cruel. Do not insult yourself. Do not turn them into a monster. Just separate fact from fantasy. Because the moment you stop rewriting reality, you stop reopening the wound. Acceptance is not weakness. Acceptance is the first act of command. You are not saying, this did not hurt. You are saying, I will no longer let my imagination keep me trapped where reality has already spoken. Rule 3. Withdraw your attention. You may not be able to control when a memory appears, but you can control whether you feed it. This is where many people fail. They say, I'm trying to let go, while still checking the profile, rereading the messages, looking at old photos, asking mutual friends and watching for signs. That is not letting go. That is emotional surveillance. Every small check tells your mind, this person is still important enough to interrupt my peace. Every old message becomes a doorway. Every photo becomes a hook. Every update becomes a new wound. Attention is not harmless. Attention is nourishment. What you keep watching, you keep alive inside you. The Stoic does not waste energy fighting shadows while opening the door for them every night. He closes the door first, so begin with 24 hours. No profile checking, no old conversations, no hidden signals, no asking about them. No music chosen only because it keeps the wound warm. Just one clean day. Not forever, not as a dramatic announcement. Just one day where you prove to yourself that your hand can obey your will. When the urge comes, do not argue with it. Say this is not an order. Then stand up, drink water, walk outside, do 10 push-ups, clean one corner of your room. Move your body before the thought becomes a ritual. The goal is not to stop missing them instantly. The goal is to stop training your mind to return. Because the person you think about most becomes the person who occupies your inner throne. And today, you begin taking that throne back. Rule 4. Do not turn pain into a shrine. Some people say they are healing, but every night they return to the same memory like a place of worship. They keep the toast. They keep the songs. They keep the old messages. They keep the small objects that reopen the same wound. And they call it love, loyalty, or respect for what happened. But sometimes it is not loyalty. Sometimes it is self-punishment with a softer name. There was a man who kept one voice note from someone he could not let go of. He told himself he listened to it because it helped him remember the good times. But every time he played it, his chest tightened. His sleep broke. His hope returned. His strength disappeared. That voice note was not a memory anymore. It had become a ritual. And every ritual trains the soul. Stoicism does not ask you to destroy the past. It asks you to stop kneeling before it. You can honor what happened without keeping yourself emotionally trapped inside it. You can admit that something mattered without making your suffering the proof, because pain is not the measure of love. Dignity is. So today, remove one trigger, not everything. Not in a dramatic rage. Just one thing, archive one chat, Put one photo away, stop playing one song, move one object out of sight, choose one door you will no longer open every time loneliness knocks. And when your mind says, "But what if I forget them?" answer calmly, "I am not trying to erase the past. I am trying to stop letting the past govern me." That is the difference between memory and captivity. A memory visits, captivity commands. And from this point forward, you do not build a shrine to what broke you. Rule 5. Stop negotiating with hope. Hope can be beautiful when it gives you courage to live. But hope becomes dangerous when it turns you into someone who keeps waiting at a door that may never open. You tell yourself, maybe one day they will understand. Maybe they will come back. Maybe they just need time. Maybe if I become better, they will finally choose me. And because that maybe, you do not fully leave, you stay emotionally available. You keep a part of your life unfinished. You do not move forward completely because some hidden part of you is still preparing for their return. That is not patience. That is a contract you signed alone. Stoicism asks you to look at what is within your control. Their feelings are not. Their return is not. Their regret is not. Their awakening is not. Your conduct is. Your discipline is. Your decision to stop waiting for someone else to rescue your peace is. Ask yourself the uncomfortable question: am I healing, or am I staying available just in case they change their mind? Do not answer quickly. Let it expose you, because sometimes the hardest thing to release is not the person, it is the future you imagined with them. So write this sentence today: I release the version of my life that required them to choose me. Read it slowly, not with anger, not with revenge, with dignity. You are not closing your heart. You are closing the waiting room. If life brings something back, you will face it as a stronger person. But you will not pause your growth for an uncertain possibility. Hope should open your life. If it keeps you frozen, it is no longer hope. It is a chain wearing gentle clothing. Before we continue, pause for one honest moment. Tell me in the comments which chain has been hardest for you to break. Is it checking? Is it hoping? Is it replaying old conversations? Is it blaming yourself? Or is it imagining a future that reality no longer supports? Do not write what sounds strong. Write what is true, because what you can name, you can begin to govern. And sometimes the first act of freedom is not a dramatic decision. It is simply admitting, this is the chain I have been carrying. Rule 6. Control the story before the story controls you. When someone leaves your life, the mind hates the empty space they leave behind. So it starts filling that space with explanations. Maybe I was not enough. Maybe I ruined everything. Maybe they never cared. Maybe I will never find this again. This is how pain becomes identity. One ending turns into a sentence about your worth. One rejection becomes a theory about your future. One person's choice becomes the judge of your entire life. But not every ending is a verdict. Sometimes something ended because two people were not aligned. Sometimes someone could not give what you needed. Sometimes timing, character, fear, immaturity, or distance changed the shape of everything. That does not mean you are worthless. It means life gave you an event, and your mind is trying to turn it into a wound with a title. The Stoic does not allow pain to become propaganda. So when the story begins, interrupt it with disciplined language. Say, "This ended. It hurt. I am learning. I do not need to insult myself to understand it." That sentence matters because it keeps you honest without making you cruel. Do not romanticize them. Do not demonize yourself. Do not build a whole identity around one chapter. Today, write down the harshest story your mind keeps repeating. Then rewrite it with more truth and less punishment. Not, I was abandoned because I am not enough. Write, someone left, and I am responsible for rebuilding myself with dignity. That is how you take command. You cannot always choose what happened, but you can choose the meaning you refuse to obey.
Rule
7. Practice absence before life forces it on you. Absence feels unbearable when you treat it like punishment, but absence becomes powerful when you choose it as discipline. This is why silence matters. Not silent treatment, not manipulation, not trying to make them miss you. Real silence, clean silence, the kind that gives your mind room to breathe again. Many people say they want to let go, but they keep sending small signals. A post meant for them to see, a message that pretends to be casual, a reaction, a question, an accidental appearance. But your soul knows when you are pretending. Every hidden signal keeps the attachment alive, so choose 7 days of clean distance. No contact, no checking, no indirect messages, no emotional bait, no asking other people about them, no trying to be seen by someone you are supposed to be releasing. At first, your mind will resist. It will say, just one look, just one message. Just sign, answer calmly, no, I am training my peace. The goal is not to prove you do not care. The goal is to prove that caring does not have to control your behavior. A Stoic does not measure strength by the absence of emotion. He measures it by the ability to act rightly while emotion is present. So for 7 days, let absence become your teacher. You may still think of them. That is normal. But you do not have to turn every thought into an action. Thoughts can pass. You remain. Rule 8. Return to your duties before you return to your feelings. When your mind is trapped by someone, your life quietly starts falling out of order. The room gets messy. The body gets neglected. Work becomes heavier. Simple tasks feel delayed. You eat without attention. You sleep without rest. You wake up and reach for the same thought before your feet even touch the floor. This is how attachment spreads. It does not only live in your heart, it enters your schedule, your posture, your discipline, your environment. Stoicism brings you back to what is directly in front of you, not because feelings do not matter. They do, but feelings cannot become the ruler of your day. You may feel pain and still wash the dishes. You may miss them and still train your body. You may feel heavy and still answer the email, clean the floor, finish the work, keep your word. This is not small. This is how a person rebuilds authority over himself. Today, choose 3 duties. Clean 1 space. Move your body for 20 minutes. Complete 1 task you have been avoiding. Do not wait until you feel inspired. Do not wait until the sadness disappears. Action often returns before peace does, and each completed duty sends a message to your mind. My life is still under my care. That sentence is powerful, because the person you miss may have left your life, but you must not leave your own life with them. Return to your duties. Your feelings can walk beside you, but they cannot hold the crown. Rule 9. Let them be human, not a monument. When you cannot stop thinking about someone, your mind often turns them into something larger than they are. A symbol, a destiny, a final chance, a perfect memory, or sometimes the opposite. A villain, a punishment, a wound with a face. Both are traps. When you worship them, you place yourself beneath them. When you hate them, you remain tied to them. Either way, they stay at the center, but they are human. They had good qualities. They also had limits. They gave you moments you valued. They also made choices that hurt. They may have cared in some ways and failed in others. That is not a contradiction. That is human complexity. Stoic clarity means refusing to exaggerate. Do not make them a god because you miss them. Do not make them a monster because you are hurt. See them accurately. Today, write 3 lists. 3 things you valued about them. 3 things that hurt you. 3 reasons your life must continue without needing a final emotional verdict. This exercise protects you from 2 dangers: fantasy and bitterness. Fantasy says, I lost the only person who mattered. Bitterness says, they ruined everything. Truth says, this mattered, this hurt, and my life is still mine. That is where peace begins. Not when you deny the past, but when you stop making one person the measure of your future. Rule 10. Become someone your future self can respect. The real question is not only, how do I stop thinking about them? The deeper question is, who am I becoming while I suffer? Pain reveals a person. It shows whether you will abandon your standards, chase what does not choose you, beg for attention, spy from the shadows, or punish yourself for being human. But pain can also become a forge, not because it feels good. It does not. But because it gives you a chance to practice the one thing Stoicism values most: command over yourself. You cannot command their feelings. You cannot command their memory. You cannot command whether they return, regret, explain, or understand, but you can command your conduct. So build a code for the next 30 days. No begging, no spying, no revenge posts, no dramatic messages. No using pain as an excuse to destroy your body, your work, or your dignity. Instead, choose disciplined rebuilding. Train your body. Clean your space. Protect your sleep. Speak less from impulse. Stop performing your sadness for someone who may not be watching. Put your energy where it can actually return strength to you. One day, your future self will look back at this season. He will not only ask, did they come back? He will ask, did I come back to myself? That is the victory. Not forgetting them completely, not becoming cold, not pretending it never mattered. The victory is reaching a point where the memory can appear, and you no longer collapse before it. You simply notice it, breathe, and return to your path. Because the strongest man is not the one who never feels pain. It is the one who refuses to let pain make him dishonorable. Now bring all 10 rules together. You do not let go by forcing your mind to become empty. You let go by changing what you do when the memory appears. You stop confusing attachment with love. You accept what happened instead of rewriting it. You withdraw your attention. You stop turning pain into a shrine. You stop negotiating with hope. You control the story. You practice clean absence. You return to your duties. You see them as human. And you become someone your future self can respect. This is not a single emotional moment. It is a discipline. Some days you will feel strong. Other days, one song, one street, one memory, one quiet hour will bring them back into your mind. That does not mean you failed. It means you are human. The difference is this: before, the memory entered and took command. Now, the memory enters and you remain seated on your own throne. You do not chase. You do not check. You do not reopen the wound just because loneliness knocks. Imagine a door. For a long time, you stood in front of it, waiting. Maybe they would return. Maybe they would explain. Maybe they would finally choose you in the way you wanted. But your life cannot remain in the hallway. Maybe one day someone knocks. Maybe they do not. That is not your command. Your command is to turn around and walk back into your own life. There is work to do. There is strength to rebuild. There is peace to earn. There is a future version of you waiting to see whether you will keep worshipping the past or finally begin living again. The door may stay behind you, but you no longer have to stand there. Tonight you may find yourself in the same room again, the lights low, the phone nearby, the mind searching for the old road. A thought will come. Check once, look once, remember once. See if anything changed. And for a moment, the old version of you may rise. The one who reached before thinking. The one who confused pain with devotion. The one who believed peace could be found inside someone else's attention. But this time, something is different. You pause. You notice the urge without obeying it. You breathe. You put the phone away. Not because you feel nothing. Not because you are healed in one night. Not because the memory has disappeared. But because you have finally understood this. A thought can enter your mind without becoming your master. They may still appear in memory. Let them appear. A memory is not a command. A feeling is not a law. A longing is not a destiny. You do not have to fight every image. You do not have to hate them. You do not have to prove anything. You only have to return to your breath, return to your body, return to your duties, return to your standards. Return to the quiet authority of a person who no longer abandons himself. This is how letting go begins, not with a grand speech, not with revenge, not with a dramatic announcement. It begins in a small private moment when nobody is watching, and you choose dignity over impulse. Maybe tomorrow will still hurt, but tomorrow you will know what to do. You will not build a shrine. You will not negotiate with hope. You will not turn one person into the measure of your life. You will stand up. You will clean what is in front of you. You will keep your word to yourself. You will become less available to the past and more available to your future. And slowly, the room inside your mind will change. They may still visit, but they no longer live there.